He was one of the richest men in Chicago, feared in boardrooms, respected on Wall Street, and completely alone. But when Michael Bennett, a billionaire investor, stopped to buy cookies from a little girl on the street, he didn't expect her to look him in the eyes and say, "You look just like my daddy." At first, he thought it was a coincidence, just a strange moment in a busy day. But then came the photo she carried in her pocket, a photo of him, taken 10 years earlier, beside the only woman he ever truly loved. That was the moment his carefully constructed life began to unravel. Who was this girl? Had someone kept her a secret from him? And if she really was his daughter, who had tried so hard to hide her? What began as a sweet act of kindness turned into a dangerous journey filled with buried lies, betrayal, and a shocking truth that could destroy everything he built. But here's the question that will stay with you. How far would you go to protect the child you never knew you had? Stick with us, because by the end of this story, your heart may never recover. The autumn wind swept through downtown Chicago, turning golden leaves into little dancers on the pavement. People rushed by in tailored suits and polished shoes, their phones glued to their ears, stock prices flickering in their minds. But none of them saw what he saw. Michael Bennett, 42, walked out of the towering glass structure of Bennett Capital Group with the same expressionless confidence he wore every day. His silk tie, his monogram cufflinks, his custom overcoat, all perfectly aligned with the role he played. The Wall Street prodigy who built an empire from nothing. To everyone else, he had it all. To himself, he had nothing. "Sir, your car's waiting," his assistant called, heels tapping as she caught up with him. Final numbers just came in. The merger's projected to exceed expectations, 35% net growth. "Great," Michael muttered, "another billion, another headline." But he waved her off. "I'll walk." She blinked. "Walk, sir." He didn't answer. He just turned and started down the crowded sidewalk alone. A few blocks later, near the corner of Wabash and Madison, something made him stop. There, standing beside a wobbly folding table held together with duct tape, was a little girl, no more than 6 years old. Her red hoodie was too big, her sneakers scuffed, but her posture was straight and her eyes, hazel with glints of gold, were startlingly clear. The sign on the table was hand-drawn in colorful marker, "Homemade cookies. $1 each, help my grandma get better." Michael found himself walking toward her without knowing why. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the emptiness gnawing at his chest, begging for something real. "Hello, mister," the girl said brightly. "Want to try a cookie? They're really good." $1. He knelt down, not caring that his $3,000 coat grazed the sidewalk. "What's your name, Sophie Carter?" she said proudly. "My grandma Helen is sick. She used to bake with me, but now I do it. She says if you care about someone, you help." Michael felt something unfamiliar rise in his chest. Something heavy and warm at the same time. "I'll take all of them," he said, handing her a crisp $100 bill. Her eyes went wide. "All of them," he smiled, "every last one." As she reached into her little apron pocket for change, a photo slipped out. It floated gently to the pavement landing. Face up, Michael picked it up and froze. The photograph was old, slightly creased, but it was unmistakable. It was him, a decade younger, his arm around Emily Carter, the woman he had once loved and left behind. Her smile still burned in his memory like sunlight. His own was carefree, naive, even. "That's my daddy," Sophie said matter-of-factly, taking the photo back. "Mommy said he was really special. She said he'd find us one day if we ever needed him." Michael couldn't speak. He couldn't breathe. The street noise around him dulled. All he could hear was his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. "Mommy went to heaven last year." Sophie continued, stuffing the picture gently back into her pocket. "So now it's just me and Grandma." Michael swallowed hard. Does your grandma know you're out here?" "No," Sophie whispered. "She doesn't like when I do this. She's proud. But I thought maybe today someone nice would help." And then she smiled. Michael's heart cracked. He had walked away from Emily 10 years ago. She was offered a professorship in Paris. He had just landed the chance to open their London office. His uncle Rick Bennett had told him she was a distraction, that love was for poets, not empire builders. So Michael left, no goodbye. Just a note and a bouquet. And now this child, this little girl with his eyes, selling cookies on a cold sidewalk to help a dying grandmother. "Thank you for buying them," Mr. Sophie said, packing her things into a tote bag. I gotta go home before Grandma wakes up." She turned and hurried off, unaware she'd just upended the life of the man watching her disappear. That night, Michael stood in front of his floor-to-ceiling windows, the lights of Chicago glittering like stars. But all he could see was Sophie's face. Was she really his daughter? He searched Emily's name online and found the obituary she had passed away from cancer 8 months ago. It listed her mother, Helen Carter, and a daughter, Sophie. No mention of him, no acknowledgement, just silence. Michael ran his hands over his face. Why hadn't she told him? Or had she tried? Had someone stopped her? Could Rick have? He didn't finish the thought. He needed answers, but the questions kept multiplying. Was Sophie really his? Did Emily try to reach him and get shut out? And if this wasn't fate, was someone orchestrating this? Could he trust what he saw? Or was someone using that sweet little girl to play the most dangerous kind of game? The emotional kind. We're so sorry to pause the story here, but trust us, what's coming next will leave you breathless. If you discovered a child who might be yours but no one told you, would you investigate or walk away? Do you believe in fate? Or do you think Sophie's appearance was something else entirely? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to tell us what country you're watching from. If this story pulled at your heart, please tap that heart button and give us a like. Your support means the world. Next part is where things get even more intense. Are you ready? The next morning, Michael Bennett sat in his penthouse office, but the view of the Chicago skyline no longer impressed him. His mind raced with one image, a little girl with auburn hair and hazel eyes clutching a photo of a younger. Him, the father she never met, he hadn't slept. Instead, he combed through every possible record of Emily Carter, her academic achievements, her lectures, then her obituary. The reality hit him like a freight train. Emily was gone. And if Sophie really was his daughter, he had already missed the first 6 years of her life. But how? Why hadn't she ever reached out? He called his assistant, pull all correspondence from 2014 to 2016, letters, voicemails, anything that came through while I was in London. 2 hours later, a file arrived. Michael scanned through page after page until he stopped cold. 7 missed calls, 3 undelivered letters, all from Emily. All marked as handled by Rick Bennett's office. His chest tightened. Rick, the man who raised him after his parents died, the man who built him into a business machine. Had he intercepted them? Michael's phone buzzed. Speak of the devil. Michael, Rick's voice carried that same iron confidence it always had. Board wants to meet Thursday about the Asian expansion. I've rescheduled your meetings. I'm busy, Michael replied coldly. There was a pause. Is something wrong? Plenty, but I'll handle it. He ended the call and stared out the window. There was only one way to know the truth, and that truth lived in Evanston. He found the address through a medical crowdfunding page. Help Helen Carter beat cancer. There, a small picture of Sophie and an elderly woman was paired with a heartbreaking funding goal, barely $2,000 raised out of $150,000. No rich family, no scam, just desperation. That afternoon, Michael stood in front of a weathered brownstone. The paint peeled near the edges. The steps creaked, but it had something his penthouse didn't warmth. He checked the mailbox, apartment 3B. He reached for the buzzer, then froze. What would he say? Hi, I might be your granddaughter's father. Before he could knock, a small voice behind him chirped, Mr. Cookie Man. He turned. Sophie stood at the base of the steps, backpack hanging off one shoulder, a smile lighting up her face. What are you doing here? I wanted to see how your grandma's doing. Behind her, an older woman, gray-haired, sharp-eyed, struggled up the steps with a cane. That's him, Grandma. He bought all my cookies. The woman looked him up and down like a hawk. That was generous of you, she said warily. Sophie, go inside. I'd like to speak with this gentleman. Once Sophie disappeared into the building, Helen Carter turned to Michael. Who are you really? What do you want with my granddaughter? My name is Michael Bennett, he said, his voice low. I knew Emily years ago. I didn't know she had a daughter, I swear. Her eyes narrowed. You didn't know, or you chose not to know. Michael's voice cracked. She tried to tell me, didn't she? She did, Helen said sharply. Letters, calls. She even came to your office once 7 months pregnant. Michael staggered back a step as if punched. I never got any of it. I believe you, Helen said. Eventually, Emily stopped trying. She figured you'd made your choice. I didn't, he whispered. I never even had the chance. Helen looked at him for a long moment, her hard edges softening. Come up, but don't say anything to Sophie yet. She doesn't know who you are. Inside the apartment was small but full of life. Books, photos, coloring pages. On the mantel, a framed picture of Emily holding baby. Sophie, Michael stared. How could he have missed all this? Are you rich? Sophie asked, plopping on the couch. You gave me $50. I work with money, I help it grow. Can you help Grandma's money grow? She needs medicine, Sophie. Helen snapped. Michael smiled gently. Actually, I'd like to help if you'll let me. Helen stiffened. We don't take charity. It's not charity, he said quietly. It's responsibility. If Sophie is my daughter. Helen looked at him. Emily never listed a father on the certificate, but she never mentioned anyone else. She tilted her head. Look at her. You really don't see it. He saw it now in the shape of her eyes, her laugh, her stubborn little chin. Later in his car, Michael couldn't shake the weight of it. He had a daughter. He had missed everything, her birth, her first words, her scraped knees and bedtime stories. And now he had to find a way back in, if she would let him. But one question haunted him most. What if Rick Bennett knew all along? What if the man he trusted more than anyone made sure he never found out about his own child? We hate to stop here, but things are about to get even more intense. If you discovered someone had hidden your child from you, how far would you go to uncover the truth? Do you think Helen should trust Michael? Or is she right to protect Sophie at all costs? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us what country you're watching from. If you feel something stirring inside you right now, please tap that heart and like this video. It truly helps us share more powerful stories like this one. Ready for part 3? Things are about to explode. 3 days later, Michael Bennett sat in his private office at Bennett Capital Group, staring at a thin envelope. The DNA results had arrived. He hesitated. Part of him didn't need the paper, he already knew, but still his fingers trembled as he unfolded the results. 98% probability. Sophie Carter was his daughter. He leaned back, the weight of years crashing down on him. He was a father. He had been a father for 6 years and didn't even know it. His intercom buzzed. Mr. Bennett, we also pulled your mail and voicemail logs from your London assignment as requested. What he read next made his blood run cold. Multiple voicemails from Emily never forwarded. 3 handwritten letters marked handled by Mr. Rick Bennett's office. One was stamped just 7 months before Sophie was born. Michael stared at the name Rick, his uncle, his mentor, the man who had raised him. Had Rick deliberately kept Emily's messages from him? Had he decided on his own that Michael wasn't ready to be a father? Michael's phone buzzed again. This time a different name, Helen Carter. Mr. Bennett, her voice was strained. The hospital just called. My insurance denied treatment again. I'll take care of it, he said quickly. But Helen wasn't finished. There's something else. Someone came asking questions about me and Sophie. Said they were doing a background check for a potential benefactor. Michael's jaw clenched. Only one person would go behind his back like that, Rick. That afternoon, Rick showed up at the office, uninvited but smiling as if nothing had happened. You've been distracted, Rick said, settling into the chair. This little charity adventure is becoming personal. Michael didn't answer. Rick leaned forward. Just be careful. Kids like Sophie have a way of capturing hearts and bank accounts. Michael's voice was cold. She's my daughter. Rick's expression didn't change, but his eyes did. A flicker of panic or calculation. You need proof. Children lie, women lie, opportunists lie. I have the DNA test, Michael replied, and I have the logs, the voicemails, the letters you blocked. There was silence, and then Rick spoke calm and smooth. You weren't ready back then. I protected you. Protected the family legacy. You stole my family from me. It was a necessary sacrifice. Michael stood, get out, but Rick didn't move. You really think the board will welcome a child From a dead relationship into the Bennett legacy? You're making her an heir to an empire she didn't build. She is my legacy, Michael said. And from now on, that's all that matters. But just when Michael thought the worst was behind him, the unthinkable happened. 3 days later, Sophie collapsed during dinner at Helen's apartment. She was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, vomiting, feverish, unresponsive. Doctors were baffled. Michael was frantic. Check everything, her food, her drinks, medications. Anything she might have ingested. Lab results came back hours later. Traces of benzodiazepines, a powerful anxiety medication known to cause dangerous reactions in children. Michael froze. That was Rick's prescription. Security footage from the penthouse revealed it all. Rick had visited 2 days before. The cameras caught him alone in the kitchen near Sophie's hot chocolate mix. The betrayal was complete. The man who raised him had tried to poison his daughter. The next morning, Rick walked into Michael's office, confident as ever. "You've been avoiding me," he said casually. "How's the little girl?" Michael didn't answer. Instead, he locked the door and pressed a folder into Rick's hands. "These are the legal documents. You're out permanently. No board seat, no operational control." Rick laughed. "You can't be serious. I have the footage. The lab report. I should take this to the police." Rick's tone shifted. "That would destroy the company." Michael's eyes narrowed. "Then sign, or I will destroy you." Rick signed, trembling. "You'll regret this," he spat. "When that girl grows up and realizes you abandoned her mother," "She already knows," Michael said. "And she forgave me. That's what real family does." 2 weeks later, with Helen recovering from her latest treatment and Sophie finally stable, Michael invited them to his new home, a cozy brownstone near Lincoln Park. In Sophie's room, he had painted the ceiling with constellations. Built-in bookshelves lined the walls. A telescope stood by the window, and on her nightstand next to a photo of Emily sat a silver bracelet with a tiny star charm. That night, after bedtime stories and hot cocoa, Michael sat beside Sophie and gently took her hand. "There's something I want to tell you," he said. She looked up. "That day you sold me cookies. I didn't just buy them because they were good. I bought them because I saw someone very special." She tilted her head. "That photo you carry of your dad, that's me." Her eyes widened. "I'm your dad, Sophie." She was quiet, "But you weren't there when I was born." "I didn't know about you," he said, voice breaking. "But I promise I'll never miss another moment." She was silent for a moment longer. Then with a quiet smile, she whispered, "Can I call you Dad now?" Michael nodded, tears slipping down his cheek. Nothing would make me happier. They hugged, and for the first time in years, he felt whole. But here's a question just for you. What would you do if the person you trusted most turned out to be the one who hurt your family the most? And do you think Michael made the right choice by letting Rick walk away quietly? Tell us what you think in the comments. We're so sorry for pausing the story here, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about this story? If you loved it, comment no 3. If it felt just okay, comment no 2. And if you think we could have done better, comment no 1 also. Let us know what country you're watching from. We love hearing from all of you around the world. And if this story touched you, please tap that heart and share this video with someone who needs a reminder that love can still find its way, even after the longest silence.